Alright, how's it going, everyone? So, I've got a different kind of video today. I'm going to be doing a review of The Dirt, the Motley Crue biopic that just got released on Netflix several days ago. So, for those of you who are new to my channel, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be finding this video strictly because they're looking for videos on The Dirt. Reviews are not my strong suit. I don't normally do reviews on my channel, so I apologize in advance if I'm not the, amazing reviewer that you were hoping, that if you're that I'm not like the amazing reviewer that you're used to seeing. I don't know. I don't like doing reviews. I suck at them, but there was a lot of people that really wanted to know my thoughts on the movie. And I thought about doing a review for it because, as you can tell from my YouTube username and people that know me well and then have been watching my channel for a long time, they know I'm a huge Motley Crue fan. So they really wanted to know my thoughts on the movie, so that's why I decided to do this review. So basically, I'm not going to spend too much time on the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the music, that's for sure. This is mainly just for the movie as a whole and how it compares to the book. I'm not going to be talking about the new songs they released at all. This is strictly about the movie and how it compares to the book. So yeah, let's get started. So I kind of jotted down a few notes here to make sure I didn't get off track. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit of the background of the movie. So, as most of you know, The Dirt autobiography was released in 2001. All the bandmates or all the band members contributed to the writing of the book. Ultimately, it was helmed by Neil Strauss. And then, of course, you had other people here and there who contributed to the book, like Doc McKee, Tom Zutaut, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, so a few years after that, or shortly after, there were already talks of making the movie, or making the book into the movie. And I thought it's funny because there were a lot of people that were saying, oh, well, now that Queen comes out with their biopic, now Motley Crue has to have one. Which, let's pick apart that part of bullshit. Like I said, the Motley Crue movie has been in the works for the better part of 15 years. And if anybody can find any proof that the Queen biopic was in works before that, before, like, say, the mid-2000s, then please let me know, because I never heard anything about it. So, yeah. Next thing is, it was originally supposed to be done through Paramount and MTV. MTV Films. They were originally supposed to do it. I forgot the director who was supposed to be doing it, but ultimately they decided not to go with them because, well, at least from what I've heard, was that they wanted a more sanitized version of The Dirt, and that's not what the band wanted. They didn't like the way the script was coming together, so they scrapped it, and then it basically wasn't until, then they announced on the final tour, the final tour press conference, that Jeff Tremaine from Jackass was going to be directing it. And then I think they announced in 2017, somewhere in there, that Netflix was going to be doing it. And at first, I admit I was a bit skeptical, because I was looking forward to actually going to a movie theater and actually seeing this on a big screen. But I was just thinking, I'm not going to knock it until I watch it. So then they started releasing the actors who were going to be playing the band members, and then I remember when they first announced that Machine Gun Kelly was playing Tommy Lee, I was like, oh my lord. I was like, this is going to suck. And then when I saw the first trailer, I was like, God damn. I'm like, just from what I saw in that trailer, I was like, he fucking nailed it perfectly. Um, and then when I saw the movie, I wasn't disappointed at all. So yeah, but yeah, but then there are a lot of people who thought that that even the movie now was still pretty sanitized. And so here, let me just say this. If they were to actually put every bit of just like triple X rated shit that was in the book in the movie, the book they wouldn't have even allowed it on Netflix probably. It would have been goddamn near a porno at that point. And for anybody that's actually read the fucking dirt, you would agree with me on that. You know? So yeah. So yeah, that's just a bit of the background. And then obviously then later in 2018 or was it early 2019? Yeah, they announced that the date that it was coming on Netflix and yada yada yada. So, now that we're done talking about a little bit of the background, let's talk about the actors. So overall, I thought every actor did a fantastic job. I would say the two that I thought were the best were definitely Machine Gun Kelly playing Tommy Lee. Like, he fucking nailed it. Like, I was just like, holy shit. Like, he was a perfect casting choice. Another one that was not a main character by any means, but another one that was just a really perfect lookalike was the actress who played Heather Locklear. She looked exactly like her. So I got to give them props for finding an incredibly good lookalike for her. Other than that, I thought the rest of the actors were really good. The guy who played Ozzy was spot on. Like, holy shit. That was another really good one. So another thing I want to talk about is the guy who played Nikki Sixx, Douglas Booth. So there's a lot of people, even when the trailer first came out, people were like, oh, the guy who plays Nikki Sixx, his hair isn't, poofed up enough or whatever. And I'm just like, why does it matter? Like, all people seem to go on and on about is the shit that doesn't matter. I would rather have them have a more accurate event in the movie from the book as opposed to what exactly the character looks like. I mean, yeah, you want the characters to look, or you want the actors to look like them, but at the same time, it's not like that important for Nikki's hair to be fucking. It wasn't that important for the hair to be that poofed up, It was pooped up enough for what it is, but I just feel like that's just a really stupid fucking thing that people are bitching about. So, another thing too, I remember when the actors first got released, people were like, oh, they look nothing like them. So let me state the obvious. These people are not Vince Neil, Tommy Lee, Nikki Sixx, or Mick Mars. They are not going to be the splitting fucking image of the band members. It's like, every time I saw a comment about that, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, I just wanted to punch those people in the face. It's like, I don't know, man. It gets me worked up. But yeah, alright, so let's stop talking about the actors. I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about too is I thought when I saw the guy who played Tom Zutaut, I was like, that is probably the one actor in the movie who looked absolutely nothing like the real guy, which is whatever. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal, but that was just probably the one actor in the movie that literally looked nothing like the real guy. Alright, so the next one we're going to talk about is the differences between the book and the movie. Now, I'm not going to point out every little fucking difference. I'm just going to point out 3 of the big ones. So the first big one was definitely timeline with Skylar, Vince's daughter. So in the movie, it shows a scene where I guess they're putting up the stage show for the Theater of Pain tour, and it shows a scene with Charisse and Skylar coming in, and Vince and the rest of the guys are sitting in the theater or whatever. And when I first saw that, and then he said, "Hi, Skylar," I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, at this point, I'm like, it's so technically right at that point in the movie, it's 1985 because it's right about when Theater of Pain's about ready to come out or has just came out. I'm like, Skylar was not born in 1985. Skylar wasn't born until 1991. So that was probably the biggest inaccuracy in the movie that I saw, and really the only one that affected me. I was just kind of like, that does not. I'm like, that was one of the big things that just was not right about it. If they would have fixed that, I could have dealt with everything else, but that was just the big one that they should have been more accurate about. But yeah, so that's the big one right there, because then at the point when she died, it was 1995. So then by that means she would have been like 9 or 10 years old, which is not accurate at all. Skylar, I think, was only 4 when she died. So, yeah, just like I said, that was probably the biggest inaccuracy in the whole movie. The next one. So another one that I noticed was when they're at Vince's house the night that Razzle died. So there's actually a couple here that I have to point out. So one, it shows all of them at the house. Nikki was not at the house, was not at that party. Or at least this is according to the dirt. And I've read the dirt several times. I forgot to mention that. So I pretty much have a pretty good memory of every detail in that book. But yeah, from what I recall, Nikki was not at the house, which he was in the movie. I think he was like out of town with a girlfriend or something at the time when it happened. I don't remember. It was something like that. But so that was one inaccuracy. And then obviously the other inaccuracy was it's showing Charisse being pregnant. And then on top of that, at that point I don't even think Vince had met Charisse yet. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he hadn't met her yet. But like I said, I could be wrong. I think he was with that other chick at the time when it happened. I can't remember her name. I think her name was Beth, maybe? Fuck. I don't know. I could be wrong. You can fucking help me out in the comments if you want. But, so yeah. Another inaccuracy was at that party, it showed Tommy Lee meeting Heather Locklear. Tommy Lee did not meet Heather Locklear at that party. He met Heather Locklear backstage at an REO Speedwagon concert, I'm pretty sure. So that was another inaccuracy right there. Another one that I wish they would have been more accurate about was in the scene where where it showed them playing their first show. Right before that scene, it shows a quick glance at the billboard, which I guess is supposed to be the Starwood. It shows Motley Crue, and then it shows Quiet Riot. It has the correct date. It has April 24th, but it shows Motley Crue and Quiet Riot. Motley Crue did not play their first show with Quiet Riot. They played it with Y&T. So I wish they would have been more accurate about that. But again, that's something that I can live with. It's not that big of a deal. But that was just another one of those inaccuracies that I saw. There were other ones too, but those were just the main ones that I wish they would have been more conscientious about. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the differences between the book and the movie. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the negative things about the movie. As stated before, really the only negative thing I wish they would have been more accurate about was the whole Skylar thing and that whole timeline. I wish they would have been more accurate about that. And just another thing too, I just now thought of this one. Another thing that was blatantly inaccurate was when they went to the bar to go get Vince back in the band. They were all like, yeah, we want you back in the band. That is not how it happened. That's not how it happened. The label pretty much forced them to get Vince back, and they did not want Vince back in the band at the time. They weren't all lovey-dovey with him and shit. No, that's not how it happened. But yeah, that was just a couple other negative things. I mean, honestly, I could have put these two in the same category. You know, I could have just said differences between the book and movie, and that would have counted for the negatives, but whatever. Another one, too, is that when it shows them going to pick up Mick from the hospital, and I think Tommy's the one who says, how's that new hip, Mick? And I'm just like, I don't think Mick got his hip replacement until, like, right before they did the Red, White, and Crew tour, or whatever. It was right before they got back together, or whatever, for that, fucking Carnival of Sins, or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I could be wrong though. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that though. So that was another thing. Yeah, just little shit like that. There's just a lot of things that they should have been more accurate about, but so yeah, we're done talking about that. So let's talk about the positive things about the movie. So like I said, overall, I think all the actors did a fantastic job. They did an excellent job portraying each band member. Like, they're all literally like the splitting image, and just in terms of the way they talked and the way they acted. Another thing I really liked about the movie too was obviously the first scene of the movie, there was a lot of quotes that were taken directly from the book. I mean, that was throughout the movie, though. There were a lot of... I don't really think a lot of people realized how many quotes from the movie were actually taken directly from the book. I've noticed it because, like I said, I've read the book several times. But yeah, the beginning of the movie where it has the infamous Bullwinkle scene. So that was awesome. I love how they included that. And then the first, how they did their first show, I really liked how they did that scene where, you know, the band gets in a fight with the fucking audience. That was awesome. I loved how they did that scene. The scene where Vince shows up to Nikki's apartment. They're about ready to practice for the first time. I think they did a good job on that scene. Let me think. I know there was something else. They did a really good job on the razzle, on that whole razzle scene too. That was really good, the way that was done. Razzle dying. I know there was another one that I wanted to mention. And then there was a quick little part where it shows where they're in the apartment, and it shows Tommy killing the roaches with the hairspray and lighter. That was awesome. I'm really glad that they included that little detail. Let's see. There were other things too, but those were just the main ones that I really loved about it. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about the parts that I wished would have been in the movie. I think what the biggest part of the book that I wish would have been in the movie was was when Nikki and Vince get in a fight with those undercover cops, which inspires the song Knock 'Em Dead Kid. I wish they would have included that in the movie. There's a part in the book where Nikki and Tommy jump a train. I wish they would have included that because that would have been cool. Oh, let's see. Also, I think it would have been interesting to see the whole thing with Axl with Axl Rose and Vince Neil, that whole dispute or that fight or whatever. I think that would have been interesting to see. Let me think here. That pretty much covers that. So, and just a few other comments about the movie, I guess. I think the main thing that people need to realize is that this is a movie. Yeah, it is technically supposed to be based. It technically is based on their book, but they probably had to tweak a few things, obviously, to make it appeal to a wider audience. Kind of like how what they did with Lords of Chaos. Things were tweaked because they wanted to make it appeal to a wider audience. It's a movie. They want the movie to sell. What else was I going to mention? Another thing people really... another thing that you will constantly see if you follow any posts about the movie is the one person, or the one of many persons that say, this should have been a Netflix miniseries or TV series. Yeah, that would have been fucking awesome. But ultimately, that would have been Netflix's decision. And that wasn't their decision. Or that wasn't, like, say, you know, Jeff's decision or the band's decision. That would have been Netflix's decision. But that also would have meant that the script and everything would have had to have been entirely rewritten. And then it would have taken much longer for it to come out, obviously. It would have required getting many more actors and everything. Another thing, too, that I just found out was that apparently you have to have legal permission to use somebody's name and image in a movie, which I did not know that. So that would explain why a lot of key people from Motley Crue's story were not in the book. One of them, probably the most notable one, being Alan Kaufman, who was Motley Crue's first manager. He wasn't in the movie. Another thing that people were really interested to see for some reason, whatever reason, was the whole thing with Tommy and Pamela Anderson. So that could have been a reason why that wasn't in the movie. Maybe because she didn't consent to have herself being used in the movie or whatever. But honestly, I don't know why people cared so much about seeing that scene. I don't think it's interesting at all, but whatever. Let's see, what else? Then they mention it in the movie. They mentioned that it goes to one of those parts where they're at the Motley house, and it shows Doc McGee there, who beats or punches some dude or whatever for trying to steal their fucking coke or whatever, and and he goes, "Oh, hey, I need a new manager, or I can be your guys' manager or whatever. You guys are gonna need a manager." And then it flashes over to Mick, and Mick's like, this isn't how we met Doc or whatever. Or he goes, we met Doc backstage or after the Santa Monica Civic Center show. And then it shows that Arrow was like, oh, he also had brought his partner, Doug Thaler. So that could have also been the reason why Doug wasn't in the movie. But, I mean, it's weird, though, because they used a guy, but they didn't actually use him throughout the movie. So I'm not real sure what the reasoning for that was, but whatever. Let's see here. I know there were a couple other things I wanted to talk about. And then, so aside from the people saying that they wanted it to be a miniseries, then you get the people that are like, oh, well, this movie should have been longer. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it could have been longer, but I don't know, like, I just feel like that people can't grasp the concept of the fact that the book is like over 400 pages and they still would have had to have crammed, you know, it's not like they could have made the movie 3 fucking hours, you know. It's like, I think people just can't grasp the concept of the fact that they had to try and cram over 400 pages of material in a less than 2 hour movie. It's like, you can't include everything. If they were actually gonna include every little fucking detail in the book, then the movie or whatever, it would have had to been like fucking 12 hours long at least, because that's how much shit there is in that book. But yeah, I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. So just a couple other things I wanted to mention. Overall, it was a fantastic movie. I loved it. I've watched it 3 times already, which I know is probably a lot less than some of you guys watching. And I plan on watching it many more times. If Netflix decides to allow for a DVD and Blu-ray release, I will definitely pick it up then. For those of you that are watching this and you haven't seen the movie or haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. Even if you don't like the band or don't like the music, the book and the movie would both entertain anybody. They're both fantastic. I recommend reading the book first before watching the movie, just so you can kind of see where all the inaccuracies are. But if you don't have that kind of patience, then by all means watch the fucking movie first. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. Like I said, I loved the movie. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, 10 being, amazing, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Maybe even a 9.5. And that's mainly just for the simple fact of some of the big inaccuracies. But though that stuff might have been done for a reason, though, because there are a lot of little details throughout the movie that only people that would have actually read the dirt thoroughly would have known about. So you can tell that whoever wrote the script obviously read the dirt multiple times. Yeah, other than that, that's all I got. And this review is a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but yeah. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and again, check out the movie, check out the book. Like I said, I highly recommend checking out the book first, but, I know some people don't have that kind of patience, so like I said, watch the movie first by all means, but, alright, I'm done. Take care, guys. I will see you in the next video.